Hello, my name is Luke, and today I want to tell you about Maiden in the Forest. This particular copy of the game is a free print and play version of the game you can download from Board Game Geek, or if you really like the game or you just don't feel like making your own copy, Button Shy Games has published this game as part of their wallet line of games, and so you can get better art on that, better, easier to read text on it, but the gameplay should be relatively the same. I'll include a link to both the print and play version of this game and Button Shy's professionally made version of the game in the show notes at the bottom of this video. The story of this game is a little strange, and I have to admit I don't really know it completely. However, the short version is this woman is trapped in a creepy woods, and this creepy woods is made up of these cards here, and she has 12 days, 12 turns to get out of the woods, or I'm sure some bad thing will happen. The mechanics of the game are a lot easier to understand than the theme, however, and so all of our discussion will be based on the mechanics of the game, what you do to play. On the back of this Maiden card, it shows the diagram of how you need to lay everything out in a circle after you shuffle up these tree cards. But also it shows that there are 3 states of trees. I don't know if you can see it on there. The 3 states of the trees are either blooming, which is when the object is towards the outside of the circle, rotated, which the object is now on the inside of the circle, or dormant, which means that the card is flipped over. The goal of the game is to get all of the trees into that dormant position by the end of 12 turns. First of all, though, we're going to start with the Maiden in this 12 o'clock position. And then over these turns, we'll show what you can do to manipulate these trees. Each turn is made up of, like I said, a day phase and a night phase. During each of those phases, you have up to 3 actions that you can do. The 3 daytime actions that you can do are listed on these cards. This card, for example, lets you swap the positions of any 2 cards where either the color matches, like this yellow and that yellow, or the object matches, like this one has a bird and that one has a bird. There are 4 of these different objects that are along the tops of these trees. There's a bird, there's flame, there's a leaf, and there's a comb. The little version of the comb, I think, looks sort of like a penny whistle, like a flute, and so I may refer to it as a flute or a whistle, but it's just the same thing as this comb. So again, there'll be 3 actions that you can do during the day phase, and I'll explain what those 3 actions will be a part of. If you use this bird action, you can swap positions of any 2 cards that share a trait. If you use this flame action, you can swap the positions of any of these 2 cards. If you use this leaf action, you can swap the position of any 2 cards that are opposite each other on the circle, or if you use the comb action, you can swap positions of any 2 adjacent cards, so any 2 cards that are next to each other on the circle. When you start your day phase, however, you're going to shuffle these cards. And draw 1. And that 1, in this case it's the bird, has a special feature. And by feature, I mean it's bad, because the cards that have that object on them you cannot manipulate during this day phase or during the night phase. So this card has a bird, that card has a bird, and this card has a bird. So those 3 cards you cannot manipulate during any of these phases. But the other 3 cards, you will get to use any of those actions up to 1 time each during the day phase. I'm not going to do the day phase yet until I explain what happens at the night phase. After you've had all 3 of these actions up to 1 time each used, you'll switch over to the night phase. On this print and play version, the night phase has its own card. I'm not sure how the professional version has their instructions, but on the print and play version, the day phase's instructions are on the back of the Maiden card, and the night phase are on this card. There are 3 actions that you can do during the night phase. The first action is to manipulate 2 cards that are opposite each other that have the same color or object. So for example, let's look and see if we have any already there. So we do. Cool. This one and this one, they both have a flame. So if we did that action, the 2-card action, it would manipulate them. So it'll go from blooming to reverted in each of those cards. It'll only apply to each card the 1 time for this action. This next action, and you don't have to do them in order, the next action is 3 cards that will be manipulated. And so if we make a little triangle, let's see. Oh, cool. We've already got one. This is a yellow tree, and that's a yellow tree. This has a leaf object, and that one has a leaf object. And so we could do that 3-card action, and it would rotate them, and it would rotate them, and it would rotate them. So all 3 don't have to share a trait, but 1 and 2 share a trait, and 2 and 3 share a trait. The third nighttime action that we can choose is the 4-card action. So it's sort of the same. This one is 2 across from each other. This one is 3 at exactly thirds, so they'll make an equilateral triangle. So it's this one, skip 1, 2, 3 at that one, skip 1, 2, 3 at that one. The third action is just the same, but now it's doing 4 of them. And so, for example, and this doesn't happen to work out here, if this was the same color as this, and this had the same symbol as that, and that had the same symbol or color as that, you could flip all 4 of those cards over, and that would be that third action. Just like you don't have to use all of these cards on your day phase, you don't have to use all 3 of those actions on your night phase. After you do up to 3 actions on your night phase is over, and you'll move your Maiden to the next card. If the Maiden makes it all the way back to the beginning, before you have turned all the cards to dormant, then you have lost. Typically, the game doesn't last all the way to that point, but it is possible. Moving that back there, at the end of that night phase, you'd move that, you'd reshuffle these, and you'd have a new daytime phase. First of all, I'm just going to pick them all up and reshuffle, and then we'll do a little bit of a playthrough for you. Okay, they're all upright. So they're all re-dealt out, and we're ready to start our first turn. we start our turn by shuffling these up and drawing one. Oh, and it's the leaf. So on this first day turn and night turn, so during the day and the night, we cannot manipulate any cards that have a leaf. So that's a leaf, that's a leaf, and that's a leaf. We can manipulate any of the other ones. We're going to use these cards to change positions during the daytime so that during the nighttime we can manipulate these cards' orientation and hopefully make some of them dormant. All right, so first of all, it usually involves some staring to see if we've already got some things in position. Yellow, yellow. Ooh. Okay, so even though this is yellow and that one's yellow and that one's yellow, even if I switch this, I could not do that 4 position action during the night phase because this card has a leaf. Okay, so here's a 3 though. This card is green. This card has a shared bird trait. So we've got a 3 we can already do. So we don't want to change those 3 positions. And just because of the way that these leaves are positioned, it's going to make it really hard for us to do any 4s. I think it's actually impossible for us to get any 4s during this night phase. So we've got a 3, which has 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can get any 2s, which will have 2 of the same something across from each other. So these 2 are both red. So it looks like we've already got a 3 and a 2 set up. So I'm just going to skip this first day phase and go straight to the night phase. Night phase of turn 1. We've already found that this one, and this one have shared traits. So we manipulate that guy, manipulate that one, and manipulate that one. And that is our 3-card action. And then we will manipulate these 2, makes that one go there, makes that one go dormant. And that is our 2-card nighttime action. And so that's all of the actions we can do during our nighttime action. That'll move the Maiden to the next morning. We'll reshuffle these. We're ready for turn 2. All right, so we're going to, again, draw a card. Oh, joy of joys, it's another... Oh, it wasn't a bird the first time, it was a leaf. So this is not so bad. So we can't use a bird on this turn. But we've got these 3. Flame can move positions of any 2 cards. The leaf can swap positions of any 2 cards that are opposite each other. And the comb can swap the positions of 2 adjacent cards. So first I'm going to try to see if there are any 4-way things that are close to happening. So I can't do it on this one because there's a bird there. The other bird is up here. So if there is going to be a 4-way, it would have to be here. And at the moment, there is a card that is dormant, so that would not help us. Is there another card we could put there to make it so they would match? Yes, there is. So I'm going to use my flame card. It says swap positions of any two card. That's used. I'm going to move this guy and this guy, change their positions, because this is a flame. We have the comb and the flame. I mean, this is a red tree and that's a red tree. And this has a flame and this has a flame. And this has a blue tree and this has a blue tree. So it can make that four-way cross there during the nighttime phase. Let's see if we can do any threes. And right now the two birds are here and here. I cannot manipulate those. So if I was going to do any threes, it would have to be with this fireball. And these two positions. I don't see this as very likely though. And so we're just gonna give up on that one. But what we can do, okay, this one and that one. So if I could get a comb here, that would match this way. Are there any combs I can move? I don't see one. So can I get a leaf here? I can. So, oh, I can't. Because I was thinking if I could swap these two, I would have a leaf here and here. So that did not do anything. So I've got lots of time still. So I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to call my day phase over and go on to the night phase. The night phase, I do have a four-way red, red, fireball, fireball, blue, blue. So they'll each change around. So now I have two that are dormant, and she moves on to the next turn. So I'll shuffle these and be ready for turn number 3. Okay. Don't draw the same thing you drawn before. But I did. It's the birds again. So there's a bird and there's a bird. I cannot interact with those. So I still have the leaf, lets me swap any two opposite from each other. The fireball that lets me swap any two. And the comb that lets me swap two adjacent. So, can I make any four-ways? If I was to make a four-way, it can't use him and I can't use him, so it would have to use this one. So I've already got fireball, fireball, blue, blue. I did that last time. So if I could get a red card or a fireball card here, that would work. So I can get, a red card and a fireball or a blue card and a fireball. So I'll do that. I'll use this comb to swap two adjacent cards. And so that will give me a four-way between this fireball, this blue card, that blue tree, and that blue tree. Super. Are there any others that I can set up? Ooh, and it's already got this one and this one are two yellow trees. so they'll be able to do theirs. My only problem is if I do this, if you ever do a three-way match and you don't ever follow it up later with another three-way match, then you'll end up with a card at the end of the game that is the only card left. And so I'm going to change my plan. I'm going to use these three. So it'll be green to green and fireball to fireball. So there's going to be my three-way, and these two are going to be my two-way. I'm not going to do a four-way on this turn because I'd like to do an even number of those three-way splits, if that made any sense. So I'm calling the daytime is over. So I'm now starting the night phase. Fireball, fireball, and then green tree, green tree. So all three of those are getting flipped over. And now a two-way, this one and this one. And that, oh, how'd this guy, oh, I couldn't have done that anyway, because this has that bird. So I have to re-flip these over. So I apologize. I can't interact with this bird. So this one, 1, 2, that one, 1, 2, that one, 1, 2, that one. So I'll still do my four-way that I tried to avoid, but I can't manipulate any of the bird cards. So my four-way cross is fireball, fireball, blue, blue, and blue, blue. So he's flipped, he's flipped, he's flipped, and he's just rotated. So I've done a four-way, and I've done this across from each other. So a four-way and a two-way. So that's the end of my nighttime phase. She's going to move on, pick these up, shuffle them up to get ready for the next turn. Okay, so I just came to a terrible realization. If I was able to get, say, this card and this card flipped over, it would make this card go away. And if I could somehow get these across from each other, it would make this one go away. It wouldn't get this one away. But I have no more blue trees, and I have no more of these combs. So there's no way that I'm going to be able to make this card ever do its last flip over. And so at this point, I realize I've lost the game. It's hopeless, and she's trapped in this woods forever, or for however long it's in the story. I don't know how long it'll be, but it's unpleasant in any way. So there we go. I've lost. Hopefully when you play, you won't lose. Sometimes I don't lose, but I'm not the best at this, so I lose often enough that it's not surprising when I lose. Either way, this is Maiden in the Forest. You can get it as a free print and play game, or you can buy it from Button Shy in their wallet line. I'll include links to both of those in the show notes at the bottom. Thanks for being here. See you next time.